what's up guys? Welcome back. This is Top 10 FL. Please like, comment, subscribe, or get flagged. Now, today we're going to take a look at the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are coming off another disappointing season where the team went 7-9 for the second straight year. They haven't been able to replicate the offensive firepower since Kyle Shanahan up and left for the 49ers after their embarrassing breakdown in Super Bowl 51. Either way, the team still has Matt Ryan throwing to Julio Jones and added star running back Todd Gurley in free agency, even though he's had some knee issues the past few seasons. They're also getting back a number of players lost to injury last season, and they will need to stay healthy with the division becoming arguably the best in the league over the offseason. Here are the Falcons' top 10 players heading into 2020. Number 10, DANTE FOWLER. Even though he's on his third team in 4 years, DANTE FOWLER knows how to get to the quarterback. In 2019, he had a career year, notching 58 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 11.5 sacks starting all 16 games. There are still parts of his game he needs to improve on, but after last year, his trajectory is higher than ever. He'll step right in to replace the departed Vic Beasley and hope he pans out for the Falcons' sake, as they'll face off against Drew Brees and Tom Brady twice in their division alone. Look for Fowler to build off his success last season. Number 9, Jake Matthews. The Falcons have had their struggles along the offensive line for a few seasons now, but don't tell that to Jake Matthews, who's becoming one of the top blindside protectors in the entire league. Matthews was named a Pro Bowl alternate in 2019 and is still improving as a blocker, as evidenced by his 7 penalties and 8 sacks given up last year. Look for him to have a bounce-back year keeping Matt Ryan upright. Number 8, KEANU NEAL. It's been a rough few years for KEANU NEAL, as his last 2 seasons ended early due to a torn ACL followed by a torn Achilles. You have to go back to 2017 to see why he even made this list, as he had 116 combined tackles and an interception manning the Falcons back end. He's still projected as one of the top up-and-coming safeties in the league if he can stay healthy, but that's a big if. The Falcons need him to stay on the field this year if they have any hope of winning the division and returning to the playoffs. Number 7, Todd Gurley. There doesn't seem to be a bigger mystery in the NFL than that of new Falcons running back Todd Gurley. On one hand, when healthy, he's arguably the most dynamic running back in the league, but that's the problem: health. Gurley has had knee problems going back to 2018 during the team's Super Bowl run. But from 2017 to 18, he rushed for 2,556 yards while catching 123 passes for 1,368 yards. Both of those categories were downgraded in 2019 due to injury concerns, and it's still not definite that those concerns are behind him. Otherwise, he'd still be playing for the Rams. Nevertheless, if Gurley wants to dispel his injury concerns, he needs to have a huge bounce-back year in 2020. Number 6, Calvin Ridley. He might only be going into his 3rd year, but Calvin Ridley is on the verge of having an insane breakout season at wide receiver. He's already logged back-to-back 800-yard receiving seasons with 17 total touchdowns, but if he would have been fully healthy last year, he would have had his first 1,000-yard season. Ridley would be most teams' number 1 receiver, but he's the Falcons' number 2 thanks to Julio Jones. Ridley can take the top off of defense at any given moment, and he's just scratching the surface of his potential. Watch out for a possible Pro Bowl season from Ridley in 2020. Number 5, Matt Ryan. For a guy who's had 9 straight 4,000-yard passing seasons, you'd think he'd be ranked higher than this, but Matt Ryan has still yet to recover from the devastating Super Bowl loss just 3 years ago. He hopes this year he can recreate the magic on offense from that season, as he's shown he's fully capable of doing so, throwing for 4,466 yards and 26 touchdowns last season. The problem is he also threw 14 interceptions. That just won't cut it in the vaunted NFC South. If he can cut his interceptions in half, the Falcons will most likely be back in the playoff picture, and nothing's more dangerous than a quarterback with plenty of playoff experience with a point to prove. The Falcons will always be dangerous as long as Ryan's at the helm. Number 4, Alex Mack. It's not often you see a center make top 10 lists, unless it's a top 10 centers list of course, but Alex Mack is an exception. He's been a top 5 center in the league for most of his career, and his play hasn't dropped off yet. He might have had 9 penalties in 2019, but he only allowed 2 sacks. With the rest of his offensive line having another year to develop, Mack shouldn't have to help with double teams as much and continue to dominate the interior of the line. Number 3, Grady Jarrett. Entering his 6th season, Grady Jarrett is just starting to hit his stride. Last year he signed a 4-year, $68 million contract after being a 5th-round pick out of Clemson in 2015. And 1 year into his contract, he might actually be underpaid. In 2019, Jarrett recorded 66 combined tackles to go along with 7.5 sacks, both career highs. He's also been a mainstay on the field, as he's only missed 3 games in his entire career. Being one of the best defensive tackles in the league, look for Jarrett to continue plugging up the middle and bringing down quarterbacks in 2020. Number 2, DEION Jones. You couldn't have asked for a much better bounce-back campaign than what DEION Jones had last year. Coming off a foot injury that basically ended the season before it began in 2018, 2019 saw Jones log 101 combined tackles, 5 passes defended with 1 interception. Not much of a drop off from what we've become used to with him. In 2020, Jones will hope to avoid the injury bug while continuing to develop his overall skill set as one of the best off-ball linebackers in the league, and again prove the Falcons were right to give him his 4-year, $57 million extension last year. Expect him to make life miserable for opposing offenses this season. Number 1. Julio Jones. Was there even any debate? Julio Jones is definitely a top 3 receiver in the league and makes a case to be number 1 above anyone else. He has a consistent track record of dominance against defensive backs that can never seem to figure him out. In 2019, Julio caught 99 passes for 1,394 yards and 6 touchdowns, but he'll look to improve on those numbers in 2020. Jones was made the highest paid per year receiver when the Falcons gave him a 3-year, $66 million extension, yet he seems to outplay the deals he originally gets anyway. There isn't a more physically gifted receiver in the game than Jones, and he will continue to make life miserable for the defenses he'll go up against in 2020, hopefully helping his team get back to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, or go get flagged. This is Top 10 FL.